Tonight on CTV News, the government to pay full value for all red zone land, but still some uninsured red zoners are unhappy. We have the latest. Plus, the investigation into the racial abuse at a rugby game is turned over to the police.
Broadcasting across Canterbury, from the CTV studio, this is First at 5.
Good evening, welcome to CTV News, now streaming live every night at ctv.co.nz. Well, it's been more than 16 months since Malaysian Airlines flight MH370 disappeared over the Indian Ocean with a former Christchurch man aboard. But a piece of wing now washed up near Madagascar. Could that be the first clue to this ongoing mystery?
Families and friends of loved ones who disappeared on Malaysian flight MH370 might have to wait up to another day while plane wreckage found on Reunion Island is identified. A piece of wing was spotted on the coast of the island yesterday, which is now being investigated by French and Australian authorities. The wing is thought to be from a Boeing 777. Reunion Island is a small French dependency, roughly 500 kilometres east of Madagascar in the Indian Ocean. All 239 passengers and crew are thought to have died when flight MH370 disappeared en route from Malaysia to China in March last year. This included Paul Weeks, a Cantabrian from Aranui who was working in Perth. His sister Sarah says she is keen to find out more information. She says she is hopeful the French authorities will be more forthcoming with updates than the limited information and secrecy she has experienced with Malaysian authorities. Early pictures of the 2-metre piece of wreckage suggest it's covered in barnacles and is likely to have been in the water for some time. Flight MH370 is considered to be the only serious Boeing 777 crash which has occurred in the Southern Hemisphere. The search area to date has been on the other side of the Indian Ocean, west of Australia, and officials say that yesterday's discovery will not change their search agenda. More information is expected tomorrow morning.
To the day's other big story, a number of Lincoln University students are now being investigated, this time by police, for the racial abuse of a rugby player. The Canterbury Rugby Union now says the abuse came from the embankment at Rugby Park on Sunday, filmed by CTV. The union has officially complained to police, who are now urging anyone with information to get in contact with them. The rugby player left the field in a flood of tears during the game between Lincoln and Christchurch following the ongoing racial taunts. And if you have any information, police are asking you to contact them as soon as possible. Well, still to come here on CTV News, Christchurch's first gorillas come out to play. Welcome back to CTV News. Just a quick reminder, we are broadcasting live every night, every weekday night at ctv.co.nz. So the government says it will now pay full value for all red zone land, but some uninsured red zoners still want payouts for their houses too. But is that fair and justified? Here's Jared McCulloch.
A step forward for the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority today as the organisation re-evaluated again their offer to uninsured red zoners. It's been a long time coming, with the government's original offer of 50% compensation for land being scrapped, and then it was raised to 80%, which also caused a public outcry. Those homeowners uninsured have already successfully taken their matter to the Supreme Court to get a better payout. Now Sarah has raised its offer to 100% of the 2007-2008 property values for uninsured red zone homeowners, but with no payment towards the building on the land. But the spokesperson for the nearly 50 quake outcasts says it's still not enough.
We're still unimpressed. I know they've made a move and they may think it's a good one, but we're not accepting that.
Sarah says uninsured property owners will need to relocate, salvage or sell any buildings on their red zone site, or even elect the government to move their property at a cost to the Crown. But Miller says more needs to be done before homeowners can accept the offer.
When you look at people's properties, and these people, once they accept the offer, they've got to move out of that property, and it's absolutely necessary for them to have full value for their properties. I think they should be fully paid up. Some people might have difficulty with this, but they should be Everybody should be treated the same.
But he says there may be a couple of red zoners who would accept the offer on the table.
We've got to admit that's an improvement. You cannot say that it isn't, but at the end of the day, it's still not good enough. It's not a garage sale. We cannot say, oh, I'll give you so much for this particular bike or whatever. It's not like that. We're talking about property here. Very serious.
Despite those unhappy with the latest announcement, Sarah hopes to start the process of offering the new offer in the next fortnight, but the issue may not be over yet. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
A lot of beer land there now, that's for sure. It's an international roadshow with a difference, and it's asking if Christchurch is keeping up with the rest of the world. The Better Cities tour is in town this week. Here's Jared McCulloch.
It's the first time it's been to New Zealand, and a timely one at that, here in Christchurch. The exhibition, People Building Better Cities, has made its way around the world for the past 3 years, stopping at 16 different cities in 10 countries, sharing knowledge on the current challenges of general urbanisation and climate change. But one of the organisers says it's all about getting Christchurch people talking about a range of issues.
We know that this is a really current, relevant conversation for Christchurch to have. As the rebuild continues, we think more and more people, more and more citizens of this city should be involved in the processes of city making in Christchurch.
She says the main focus is to get people talking about projects going on in the city and have their say on a range of matters. The display looks at case studies from countries around the world where people have worked together to create community projects to move their city forward. And Jessica believes it's one way to get a city like Christchurch moving forward, with the community sharing ideas and getting involved.
I think we'd like to see more people getting out and getting involved with city making, whether it's through transitional projects or through consultation. Citizens can be involved in projects, built environment projects in lots of different ways, and we'd just like to see more opportunities for the citizens to participate.
Jessica says a number of locals made their voice heard on the future of Victoria Square, making themselves known to Sarah to stop redevelopment of the green space. And she believes now is an important time more than ever to be a part of public consultation.
Create those kinds of opportunities, even just to make us think that that's possible, or that we can demand that or request that of local authorities or anyone undertaking change in the urban environment, that we get a chance to be involved. And it doesn't mean we need to be involved in every aspect of it, but the door needs to be open. It's hard keeping up with it though. I have to say it's been a year of submissions. There's been the district plan, there's been the long-term plan, there's been Victoria Square, which closes tomorrow. There's a lot to keep up with.
Anna Rubbo has been working alongside the exhibition as it travels to places like Vancouver and Johannesburg, flying from New York to speak to residents over the next month, and says Christchurch needs to talk about its future city.
What we want to do with this exhibition is to open up a conversation about some of the issues of participation and inclusive urbanisation that we've been thinking about for a while, mostly in the global south, but I think the issues move very easily, are very easily translated to the global north.
And she says everyone needs to continue making the effort to shape what's next for Canterbury.
From what I understand, it started off straight after the earthquake with a great deal of civic engagement, then it's dropped off, and now it seems to be the moment where it's probably time for the general public to re-engage, to think, what is their city going to be like, what do they want it to be like, and how can they actually meaningfully participate.
There are a number of events happening over the next month before the exhibition moves on to its next journey, with organisers hoping the display will make another appearance in New Zealand in the near future. Jared McCulloch, CTV News.
We do like journeys, don't we? Well, nearly 5 years since the earthquakes, volunteering in Canterbury is still popular, and Vulcan has had another successful year.
Volunteering Canterbury has taken on nearly 60% more volunteers over its last financial year. The organisation says it's pleased that so many people are continuing to see the benefits of volunteering in the city's post-earthquake community. There are currently more than 3,000 volunteers on Volcam's books, which the organisation says is helped by growing publicity through Facebook and other social media. Volcan received nearly $150,000 in grants last year, which makes up 80% of its income. 75% of volunteers are female. A growing number of volunteers are under 25 years old, and nearly 30% are students. This compares to 20% of volunteers who are beneficiaries. Volcam says it recently moved to a new premises in the CBD, which has helped attract volunteers and hopes to improve its volunteering base over the next year.
They're the first, or very first, ever gorillas in New Zealand, and today the long-awaited gorilla enclosure at Orana Park officially opened. Here's a sneak preview.
Orana Wildlife Park welcomes some new residents today, with 3 gorilla brothers moving over from Aussie.
It's a very proud moment today to be opening this amazing facility. We first mooted gorillas back in 2007, but of course between then and now we've had a lot of natural disasters, earthquakes, snowstorms, blown down by windstorms, a lot of setbacks. So it's delayed, but today is opening day. We're very proud.
The boys arrived in mid-June, having to brave the cold Christchurch winter, but their enclosure ensures full comfort, with regulated temperatures inside at roughly 21 degrees at all times. Fataki, Fuzu and Mahali travelled from Taronga Zoo in Sydney, where they were born in captivity.
They were put into crates, specially designed for gorillas, pretty heavy-duty stuff, and loaded onto an air freighter. One of our staff members and their primary keeper in Taronga came on the plane with them, so they always had someone nearby that they felt comfortable with. And it was in the small hours of a very cold morning they landed.
The staff have been letting the 3 brothers settle into their new $6 million home.
The 2 older boys have been off display for quite a few years, so this is new to them. We've been trying to get as many people up here as possible to ease them into it. But Mahali, he's been out and about ever since he was born, basically, so we're hoping his showmanship will rub off on the others.
It's taken the park longer than expected to receive the gorillas, the only ones in New Zealand.
It also took us longer to carry on fundraising because, of course, due to the increase in building standards, the costs escalated quite significantly on the project as well.
Lynn explains that each zoo develops a 5-year animal collection plan and all participate in breeding programs. The exchange program mainly runs throughout Australasia, and each zoo can choose which animals and which programs they want dibs on. And Orana Wildlife Park was all about the monkey business from the beginning.
Gorillas is definitely something that we've always been interested in doing, and the program, the international program, required further holders in support of it. What happens is that when males in a group get to a certain age, the silverback will toss them out. So we're starting off in the program by holding extra males that have been tossed out of the family group until they're required for breeding, and that's a really important job for this critically endangered species.
The boys eat 170 kilograms of fruit and veg each week, with only 3% of their diet consisting of fruits. These beautiful creatures are the largest and most powerful of all the primates, but are also gentle and social.
They've each got their own traits. Mahali, he's, like I said, the cheeky one. He's always into everything, pushing the boundaries. Fuzu, he's our sensitive boy. He likes to sit on the fence and try to be friends with everybody. Fataki, he's big and impressive, but he's such a big sweetheart, such a softie.
After a long time coming, the team at Orana Wildlife Park are extremely proud that they have finally managed to bring New Zealand's first gorillas to Christchurch.
My breath was taken away, although I had been to visit them several times before they arrived in Australia, and I'd have to say that the first day they went outside here was perhaps one of the most moving experiences of my entire life. Fataki, the big boy in particular, he climbed to the top of the highest platform and he looked out right across the park and saw the vista. He could see for miles, and I'm so certain I saw a sense of wonder in his eyes, and it moved me.
The park will be the gorillas' final home, with some new neighbours arriving in a year's time.
We're going to have Simon up here for a little bit while we revamp their house down below. They're looking at about a year. But they're a different kettle of fish altogether. They're scarily smart. They're going to keep us on our toes, definitely. These guys, they are very intelligent, but they're happy to to just go with the flow, whereas orangutans are always pushing, always seeing what they can do, what they can achieve.
The official opening of the exhibit was today, attended by Mayor Leanne Dalzell this afternoon. Visitors will be able to view the gorillas on Friday. Chelsea Daniels, CTV News.
Was that Mayor and Dalzell on that shot? No, surely not. Still to come here on CTV News, business and your region's weather. Welcome back to CTV News, broadcasting live at ctv.co.nz. We are a regional local television station, which means the stories that you tell us about, we care about. So if you do have a good story that we need to hear about, make sure you flick us an email at news@ctv.co.nz. And of course, we are streaming live too at ctv.co.nz. Well, Warren Head is here now from headliners.co.nz with a roundup of the region's local business news.
I'm Warren Head from headliner.co.nz. One of the things I've been talking about in recent weeks is the state of the build in Christchurch as talk develops about whether or not it's peaked. In fact, I'm currently writing a major magazine piece that's stretching the imagination, as it looks like the boom goes a lot further than anybody thought. And this week I was talking to Peter Townsend at the Chamber of Commerce about that, and he agreed, saying, look, we're going to be spending about $100 million a week for some years to come. And he likened it to Table Mountain in Cape Town, where we reach a height and then we stay there for some time. Well, lo and behold, last night I downloaded a new report from the Crown. It's called the National Construction Building Pipeline. It gives a glowing picture of what's happening around New Zealand in the coming years. And it talked about $209 billion worth of work in New Zealand over the next 6 years. And it talked about a peak, but it peaks at $36 billion sometime next year. Now, in terms of Christchurch, the residential building in Canterbury is forecast to peak, there's that word again, from about now for the next 2 years at about $4.8 billion. That's a lot of homes, isn't it? Well, in fact, there are 41,800 homes or dwellings forecast to be consented in Canterbury between January 2013 and December 2020. Now, that's more that's been increased in the past, and these are new numbers, about 24 hours old. About 22,000 detached houses are forecast to be consented, I should say, in Canterbury in the 6 years ending December 2020, 3 times more than the multi-unit consents over the same period. So it shows there's a glowing picture of a healthy building community coming forward. Now, against that, of course, what I'm picking up is a lot of smaller builders are starting to worry about the tenders dropping off, and some are looking for other work. Some are probably looking at reducing their staff. So let's hope a lot of this trickles down to the smaller guys and their subcontractors, because that's where the gravy needs to go. In terms of that subject, it's something we're going to be coming back to again. Ryman Healthcare had its annual meeting this week, and it too talked about building. It's proposing to build more villages. It plans to build 5 in Melbourne and at least 10 in Auckland by 2020. And they're targeting to lift the number of people who are resident in their villages by about 9,000 currently to 15,500 by 2020. Some of their shareholders asked if that's good enough. They wanted to know, why don't you build more if there's more people lined up waiting for residences in these new villages? Their answer was they can't afford to trip up. Now that means, subtext that to me means you've got to get the staffing numbers right and the quality of things right, and you don't want to go too fast down that particular trip. So there's a little bit of a disconnect there between the need and the build. A wee bit of a disconnect too this week with the results of Virgin Australia narrowing its full year loss, but still pretty hefty, coming down to a rather sharp drop, but nowhere near the loss that was expected. But it will book somewhere around $49 million Australian. And of course Air New Zealand has part of that, which will take onto their books because they're a shareholder in this airline. But on the other side of that, Air New Zealand is itself forecasting a very strong year, and we'll see the result for that out in August. And the other news I wanted to finish on tonight is that another annual meeting this week by Mainfreight, the big national carrier, international freight forwarding business, spent quite a bit of time with its chairman and its managing director talking to shareholders about the need for the Crown to get its head right about the future of Kiwi Rail, pointing out that without rail, the opportunities for the passenger transport sector were restricted, and there'll be desperation for more roads intensifying. There'll be more congestion on our big highways in Auckland, Wellington and Christchurch. And what do they think they're talking about if they're talking about even closing down Kiwi Rail? In fact, they question whether or not we could even go down that path without a dependency on that, and the need for more capital spending on our rail network. Hallelujah to that. I'm Warren Head for headliner.co.nz.
And now it's time for the region's weather.
Kia ora Canterbury. Well, it was a cold, frosty start for some of us this morning. However, that sunny sky did come out during the day. Let's check out today's highs first. 11 degrees for Timaru and 12 degrees for everyone else, South Canterbury. Looking to central Canterbury, 11 degrees for Christchurch and Darfield as well. 12 degrees for Akaroa, Leeston and Methven, and a little bit cooler for Ashburton on 10. Heading to North Canterbury, 10 degrees for Kaikoura, but a bit warmer for Cheviot and Amberley and Culverden on 12 degrees. Warmer still for Rangiora on 13 and 10 degrees there for Oxford. Over to the mountain range and just 6 degrees for Arthur's Pass today. Let's see what's in store for tomorrow's weather. Te Tihi Omaru, Timaru, northwesterly winds for you tomorrow. Few clouds in the sky and sunshine as well, 14 degrees. Hakatere, Ashburton, a similar picture here with those northwesterlies breezing on through. 16 though for your high, quite a nice Friday. And to Otatahi, Christchurch, again 16 degrees for your high, northwesterly winds and sunshine. Kaikoura, you can expect a pleasant day for your Friday as well, bit of high cloud and 15 degrees for your high. Let's see what's in store for the rest of the Canterbury region for tomorrow. Let's see, northwesterly winds really breezing on through. A few rainy patches though for Twizel. Looking to central Canterbury again, those northwesterlies are present. Cloudy patches and sunshine for most places, 15 degrees for everyone apart from Leeston on 16. Moving further north, again these northwesterlies are really coming through tomorrow. Cloudy skies and sunshine, 16 degrees though for Amberley, 15 for Cheviot, Culverden and Rangiora. And over to the Alpine region, a little bit of rain for Arthur's Pass and Mount Cook, 10 degrees for Mount Cook. Let's see what we can expect for our weekend. Saturday, cloudy skies on Saturday, 15 degrees there for Kaikoura and 13 for Ashburton and Timaru. Northwesterly winds for Kaikoura and northerlies for everyone apart from Timaru. Sunday, the sunshine is out, however a little bit of rain there for Kaikoura, 17 degrees for Ashburton. That's the place to be on Sunday. Looking to the other areas for the upcoming days, not looking too bad for Saturday. Little bit of rain for those inland basins, particularly Arthur's Pass and Mount Cook. Flipping over to Sunday, we are seeing a little bit of drizzle, particularly for North Canterbury, Hanna Springs, Cheviot and Kaikoura. Could be a little bit of drizzle for your Sunday morning. So the next coming days, Friday is looking good. The sun is set to come out on Friday. Could be quite a nice day with clear skies. How we are seeing a weakening front coming through on the weekend, bringing a few showers. For now though, that's your weather update for Thursday. Ka kite anō.
And before we go tonight, motorists using the Rakaya Gorge Bridge can expect significant delays tomorrow. Delays of up to at least 20 minutes will happen between 8:30am and 6:30pm as the bridge is redecked. Motorists are advised to allow extra time if travelling on State Highway 77. And that is CTV News for Thursday. Have a great evening.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.